Hey, welcome back, guys. Power Ghost episode 408 left much to be desired in the realm of violence and action, two mainstays of just about every 8th episode in Power history up to this point. However, what it lacked in motion, it compensated for in story developments that will surely lead to an explosive finish in the final 2 weeks to come. I'm here to break it all down in typical top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, the cover-up. The episode kicks off with a devastated Detective Carter, at least on the surface, providing a logical and tragic explanation for the untimely demise of Detective Felicia Lewis. Carter speaks to Lewis's newly departed predicament as a car accident, leaving himself, and most specifically, Detective Nico Halston, in shambles to pick up the pieces. One thing that was insinuated by Halston's reaction and some of the duo imagery though is this. Could Halston possibly be the secret father of Lewis's little son? This could be a bit of a reach, but at the same time, the two did work together for a protracted period. And typically in such a line of work, where you're directly under someone for anywhere from 10 to 12 hours per day, it could be a lot, and bonds could be forged that could go beyond the realm of friendliness. So much is suggested by the picture on Lewis's computer that's displayed directly under Halston's sad face, next to the Support Our Troops sticker. Just something to think about, as this could factor in later with Halston's actions and maneuvers towards the final 2 episodes. WTF moment number 9, Mum-in-Law. Tariq and Monet attempt to appeal to Kane and Noma about the danger of Detective Carter and the threat that he potentially poses now that he knows of the international drug lord. However, the two newlyweds-to-be rebuff their counterparts and even expose their marriage plans instead, much to Monet's chagrin. WTF moment number 8, Overdose. Brayden sets off for his new life with Elle, only to discover her in an overdose state with a hapless Bruchandria literally watching her die without calling for help. Brayden forces the latter and later uncovers information on the culprit behind the medical emergency. WTF moment number 7, the truth. Anya questions her mother about her new marriage and moreover, how she makes her money, suspecting what we as the audience already knows. Noma capitulates to her daughter's impromptu questionnaire and reveals that her father was a drug trafficker and that she had to leave him due to the harm his business caused against others. In doing this, she has all but set the table for her potential demise at her daughter's hands because Noma left out her entire role in the drug game, both previously and currently. And worse, how that role factored into the death of Anya's father. Once all is revealed, Noma is cooked beyond the stove. WTF moment number 6, replacement baby. Diana, in an attempt to come to terms with her recent loss and revenge against her abuser, tries to go meet with Tariq in hopes of recreating what they've lost. However, Reek attempts to insert only responsibility where other things should reside, resulting in an overly disappointed Diana to struggle in silence once again. WTF moment number 5, War State. Kane meddles with Drew's newfound power hub, previously controlled by Zion, in a major way. He purchases the building anonymously with Noma, leaving only a note for Drew that inspires him to retaliate in kind, and arguably even worse. Drew tips Carter to a forthcoming gun shipment for Noma, which the police raid thoroughly, causing more issues for Kane and his budding new wifey. WTF moment number 4, Mommy Dearest. Effie receives a surprise visit from her mom, who to this point we've only vaguely heard of, but never seen. The troubled woman begs her daughter for cash in response to her husband and Effie's former abuser leaving her. Effie turns the freezer on when responding to her mother's request, declaring vile forms of severance before leaving her to drop some evil nuggets of her own. The tense exchange sheds a bright light on why Effie is the way she is to a degree, and further bridges the gap between her and Kane, who represents the only person she can lean on currently. WTF moment number 3, The Wire. After receiving valuable intel via Tariq and Monet, Carter attempts to spy on Noma and catch her bribery advances on tape. However, before she can say anything too damning, Davis flies in to intervene, exposing Carter's influence with a small note, and subsequently hurrying his meal ticket out of there to safer pastures. This was another part of his clandestine plan with Tariq and Monet to start a war between Carter and Noma, and it severely backfired by episode's end. WTF moment number 2, the birth of Tiny Tommy. In one of the many messy crime scenes left behind by our young, novice criminals this season, Brady gets Tariq to accompany him in an effort to scare Elle's dealer for poisoning her nearly to death. Visibly out of his mind, Brayden leads the charge into Steve's home and chooses violence early with guns drawn on the unsuspecting dealer. Then, in his most Tommy-esque series to date, Brayden forces Steve to do the very coke he peddles, and a lot of it. After Steve is certainly left with the nosebleed of hell to come, Brayden mercilessly kills him in his own home, an action that won't go unanswered as we end this crazy season. And WTF moment number 1, common enemy, common goal. In the worst case scenario for our main players, Carter and Noma finally meet face to face and exchange some damning notes with one another, amongst other things. One major caveat dropped by Carter was Noma's plan to bribe a government official, a critical piece of information that could only be leaked by Davis. This almost means certain death for our favorite counselor, and just in time for Noma, as she's lost all desire for him and seems to have discovered his replacement in Carter. After all, she did offer him so much more and claimed, quote, "I'm sure there's so much more you can do for me." This is the beginning of the end, literally. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. As far as episode 8s go in the Power universe, this one was lacking in certain respects. It did propel the narrative, and hopefully the action ramps up for our major characters, but with just 2 episodes left, it's hard to tell if they'll stick the landing to a satisfactory degree. Here's hoping though, they haven't fully bombed just yet. This episode was a bit of a role reversal for Davis and Kane regarding Noma's behavior towards them. Where Noma flexed her power on Kane in the previous episode, here, she made things just as plain to Davis, whose reaction was outside of his usual character with the ladies. The suave, smooth ladies man has been replaced by one with a heightened romantic expectation, and seemingly devastated when the result didn't favor him. This may have been the impetus behind his betrayal of Noma to Tariq, which Noma is now certainly aware of due to her newfound alliance with Carter. Davis may just be at the end of that illustrious rope, and as I predicted, Kane will be the one to likely carry out his execution. It's going to happen in a much different way than this commentator initially thought, however. And to the point, Kane did not have to call that man Johnny Cocksucker like that. When Brayden finally gets a chance to speak with Elle after she regains consciousness and insinuates revenge on her reckless dealer, Elle freaks out at the news, stating that the two have a very different idea of love amidst guilty feelings. She then dismisses Brayden, who's severely game goofy in exposing such damning information to an untrustworthy outsider, something Tariq suggested via laughter at Brayden's gameless soliloquies of love. Speaking of Elle's reaction to Brayden's removal of her drug dealer, it seemed to be much deeper than just some moral high ground from where this commentator is sitting. When Brayden unlocked Elle's phone, the messages exchanged between her and the dealer Steve seemed more than friendly or even merely just drug business. This was someone who she had a camaraderie with. What further enhances this point is that Elle, from what we know, doesn't have a steady job and is more or less a freelance artist. Thus, how is she affording such an expensive drug? She was definitely bumming from Brayden for a spell, but what about beforehand? It seems that Elle's relationship with Steve was a transactional one, if you know what I mean. And her subsequent concern only masked a lingering affection for an alleged sneaky link. This is what Tariq was getting at when he rebuked his right hand for putting way too much trust in a random chick. And Brayden is going to learn this aspect of the game the hard way. That Kane and Anya meeting was weird, right? And y'all understand what I mean by weird. There seemed to be some kind of simmering sexual tension between the two. I don't know, it was just kind of peculiar. It was almost like a setup for a bad Brazzers skit or something funny like this. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. The energy that she displayed to him almost matched the energy that Noma was displaying to Carter. There's an overt seduction when you're dealing with those Covington women, and it's very plain to see when you're paying attention. But that will do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Power Ghost episode 408? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us. Hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.